Yo, my name is Julian Melnick, and welcome back to the Console Gaming channel. We are console gamers who like to button mash and joystick thrash, and today we're talking about controllers, but specifically one that just came out. Now, I don't know if you're anything like me, but there's nothing more frustrating than companies that release products and then do nothing to support them or make them better. They just go, up here, this exists. Now it's yours. Well, there's a company in mind that does the exact opposite, and that is 8bitdo, or 8bitdo, whatever you call it. They have released multiple controllers, and not only do they create new firmware updates to make them better, but they release better versions of them to make sure that you have the controller that best suits you. So today we're going to be talking about the 8bitdo Pro 2 that just came out on the 12th of April, and I love this thing. Before jumping in too quick, I want to say right now that this controller right here, I'm putting it up against the Nintendo Pro controller because that is the one I use all the time, and out of any controller I've ever used, it's actually my favorite controller. I think it feels the best. I think it looks the best. I just love that controller. I've spent hours on it, and I've played so many games, and it is great. Now, today we're working through the 8bitdo Pro 2. Now, a little backstory. This company started out by just remaking retro controllers to make sure that people could play their retro games in a, I don't know, nostalgic way. And they do a great job. This isn't my first 8bitdo controller. My first 8bitdo controller was this one, the SN30 Pro, which is a Super Nintendo look-alike with joysticks and 4 buttons, 4 R and L buttons, so that you get all 4 of them. You can do your thing, and this thing is great. I love it. I've used it for anything that requires you to have good D-pad access. This thing has a wonderful D-pad. Well, they've had the Pro Plus version, which has these additional handles for a better ergonomic feel, but this one is the version 2, because they thought, you know what, that Pro version, which already was amazing, we need to make even better. So when it comes to the way it feels great. I'm, again, putting this up against the Nintendo Pro controller, and it feels just as good, if not better, in my opinion. It fits my hand great. The one difference you will notice is that this is a match joystick situation. They're both symmetrical versus the Nintendo Pro controller, which has them mismatched. You have one up top and then one down below to the right. And that's, I guess, personal preference. I've spent most of my life playing on PlayStation, so this is actually a very welcomed change to my Nintendo gaming style. So it really isn't that big of a deal to me. And the joysticks feel amazing. Going into the button layout, we have a classic 4-button, 2-joystick, 4-shoulder button system, which you should be used to. It has the home button, which is programmable, as well as the screenshot button, which actually is just a turbo button that you can reprogram. But there are a couple extra features that it has that make this stand out, and that is on the back, there is a switch that will switch between modes, whether it's for the Switch or a computer or your mobile device. It also has a profile button. So when you use the 8bitdo software, which you're going to want to stick around because we're going to go into that in detail, you can actually pre-program different profiles on your controller and switch between them based on what game you're playing. That is huge, and it's flawless the way it does it. So along with those 2 additions, it also has additional buttons behind the handles. These additional little buttons are programmable. They are very, very easy to press. In fact, they're easy to accidentally press, but they come pre-programmed as nothing. They don't really do anything. You don't have to worry about it. The addition of these buttons are great, and everything is customizable within this 8bitdo software called 8bitdo Ultimate Software, and it is really easy to use. Now, when it comes to using this controller and how it feels in the tactile feedback, every button feels great. When you click a button, when you press a button, you know you pressed it. It isn't this mushy kind of like, it doesn't feel good. It feels like a click. It feels like the old school, very, very mechanical feeling. It feels awesome. The D-pad is stiff and it feels great to use, as well as the joysticks. They're not super loose. So when you're using the joysticks, you actually have a good feel when you're moving around. Loose joysticks always bothered me because it's too easy to move around. These ones have a good amount of resistance. They're also customizable within that app. So let's go over the app. But before we do so, guys, if you're finding value in this video, go ahead and hit that like button. I'd love for you to join this community. If I've earned your trust with some of this, I'd love to have that subscribe. If you want to be a part of this community, just subscribe and share this with a friend who might be on the fence about what kind of controller to get. And that is a great way to help us out, help this channel out. It's a free way to do it. And so let's jump into this next part, which is the 8bitdo Ultimate Software makes this controller explode with features. You can reprogram any button. You can change the joysticks. You can change the resistance. You can change the dead zone. You can even change when the trigger buttons actuate. You can't change when they stop, but you can change when the controller itself actually registers you pulling the trigger. And this is all done within the 8bitdo Ultimate software. Now with the 8bitdo Ultimate software, they are specific to which profile you're in. So if you're in the Nintendo Switch profile, you can't actually change the trigger registration thing, but you can change the thumbstick sensitivity and when it will register. Now, you can create macros, and in creating macros, like if you were going to do a combo, you can set that to one of the back paddle buttons and just click that, and you do like a crazy 15-button combo like that. Now, I don't play fighting games, so it really doesn't matter to me, but that's pretty cool. Along with that, you have the ability to do just about anything to this controller and customize it to make it your own and load up to 3 different versions of your customization to this. See the little light that's on right now? Yeah, that light means that it's on profile 1, and that is my profile that I made for the Switch. See, I can make any profile. If I'm playing Fortnite and I need to set those back paddle buttons to a different build, boom, donezo. If I'm playing Breath of the Wild and I want to do that to a jump and then something else, a combo to do like a shield surf, boom, done. If I want to do something in Mario Kart or in Super Smash Brothers, boom, you can switch them all based on your game, and that is what makes this controller so great. And there's a feature that I forgot to tell you guys about, and that's how this thing is powered. It is powered by battery pack. Now, that battery pack that's in there right now is 8bitdo's actual battery pack. This is theirs. See? It says it right there on the thing. You can't really read it. Doesn't matter. That's theirs. And it's rechargeable through USB cable, which they provide you with. But if that's not good enough for you and it dies because you've been gaming so hard and you can't plug it in anywhere, guess what? Throw some AA's in there, because that also works too. They provide you with the rechargeable battery and a way to charge it. And if you want to use your own batteries, you can do that as well. They really went above and beyond to make this controller absolutely what gamers need. And not to mention, the box it comes in is real sturdy. It looks great. It's great, and it says everything that it supports. It supports Switch, Windows, Android, Mac OS, Steam, and Raspberry Pi. So for those of you who have crazy emulator Raspberry Pi type things, this thing will do it for you. This controller, I can't believe I'm going to say this, is the Nintendo Pro Controller killer. It did it. They did it. 8bitdo, 8bit, whatever. You guys did it. So if you're on the fence about what controller to get, the 8bitdo Pro 2, there's a link below for you to pick one up. And I didn't even mention the price. It's $49.99, which is cheaper than the Nintendo Pro Controller. And again, it's just great. The build quality is great. I can't say anything more about it. And guess what? I purchased it at full price. So this is not a sponsored video. That's all I have for you guys today. This controller makes me want to go play some video games, so I'm going to go do that. But before I do that, I got one last thing to say to you. And let's all say it out loud together. Yes, if you're in a room with a bunch of people and it's going to be awkward, I definitely want you to say it out loud. And that is, happy gaming.